Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Yesterday didn't quite go as planned. I wanted to go to Home Depot, pick up a vent to be installed on a roof that's getting done. This is one of those houses that's fixer-upper. It's the $14,000 house. And so I did that, and then I ended up having to go to the warehouse. Some more supplies. Weren't able to make first service for church, and I had already had a appointment with a fellow real estate investor over in Mobile at 10:30, so went ahead, scooted on down the road, met up with him, had a fantastic talk. And it's one of those things that, you pick up a couple nuggets and whatnot, and when you're talking with like-minded individuals, it just, sit there and talk for 5 hours. And so it's always good to network. And I think at some point he and I will probably do some type of collaboration on something. Don't know what just yet. And I will say this, that probably the most important thing, two of the most important things that you will ever do in your investing career is learn how to communicate and network. And I think those two things will probably end up putting more money in anybody than anything else will. You get around the right people at the right time, and it's yours. That's all there is to it. Don't be a jerk. Keep your mouth shut. Ask far more questions than making statements or speaking statements. And those are just, a couple things that will catapult you into doing much better, so to speak. And then I ended up in Biloxi at the casino, did no gambling, but I tore the hell out of some crab legs, I'm here to tell you. And, fat boy got to eat. So it wasn't the weekend wasn't a total bust, so to speak. Saturday didn't work out like I'd hoped. I was just wanting to hang out, do some stuff, and chill out. And that didn't happen. Ended up having to do some work-related type of stuff. But the big long-term goal is the properties that are sitting that I bought as fixer-uppers, get them done, get them rented out by next July, or have them to where they can be rented out, and have them done. And then really start evaluating what it is that I want to go do. The portfolio stabilized, we'll be often enjoying some things, having a good time, and that's what it's all about. And it's a funny thing, if you sat there and made a list and you knew for sure you only had 90 days left. You only got 90 days left on earth. What would you be doing? What would you write down on that list? And now, why aren't you doing more of that? You're not getting out of this thing alive. Life is short, and you have no idea when it's going to change. I've seen people where in 30 days they went from being totally physically active to having to worry about breaking bones, standing still. And the problem is we never know when that's going to happen. And other thing that I see that occurs is people have no idea how much money they're going to need in retirement. And I have, it always happens, or about once a month, somebody calls me and says, hey, I need a place to live, $900 a month. And I was a nurse for 30 years. How are you a nurse for 30 years and you can only afford $900 a month to live? Now, there are anomalies that occur, such as, blowing through hundreds of thousands of dollars for chemo treatment for somebody, trying to keep a family member alive. There's those type of situations that happen. They happen very rarely. And, you know, the big thing is that people just aren't financially prepared and don't understand how much it's going to cost, you know. And I just want everybody to have a good retirement. And if all you need is $2,000 a month and you say, hey, that makes everything worthwhile and everything, I'm good, congratulations. You know, but for the most part, I think most people are in a situation where they're going to need about $7,000 a month to have a decent retirement, be able to still, you know, go out, eat, enjoy a couple things, few little luxuries and everything like that. Not an over-the-top lifestyle or anything like that, but about $7,000. And I really don't know too many people that just from their pension or their 401k are going to be getting $7,000 a month. You know, most of the time I hear people talk, it's more like, you know, I'll be getting between $3,000 and $5,000 a month. And so, and I'm not saying that you can't make it on that. I think that you can, you know. It just depends on, you know, do you want to look at price tags or not? You know, nobody's ever said, I'm glad that I couldn't afford air conditioning and power windows in the car. Nobody said, I'm glad I couldn't afford to send my child to Harvard. I sent him to the junior college instead. You know, I just don't hear those things. Everybody needs money. And money's not bad. It's not evil. It's what we do with it that can be bad or evil, or it can be good and it can be positive. So, you know, just think about those things. So, a couple of these are from the roof that I was, you know, talking about and everything. And this house is underway. They're starting to do the rewire on it. And, you know, we're going to put it back together and get it rented out as soon as possible. And so, hope you have a wonderful day. If you need 15 minutes or want 15 minutes of my time, there's my email in the description. Send me an email with a phone number. I'll give you a call. Might take me a couple days to get to you, but it'll happen. This is Sunday, 8 a.m. What are we doing? We're here bringing some roofing materials. Everybody wants this life. Very few people are willing to do what it takes. Unfortunately, sometimes Sunday mornings, this is what it takes. That house right there, I paid $14,000 for it. It took 3 years for me to purchase it, start to finish. And there is a long story having to do with that, but it seems like, and this has been my experience, been in the real estate game 22 years, the best deals are the ones that take the long. Rarely do you get a smoking home run in a short amount of time. It just usually doesn't happen like that. I could have bought it cheaper a couple years ago, but the guy wanted to do a quick claim deed, and I never do those, and I'll tell you why. You might be buying a property that's got millions of dollars of fines on it. Now, they're realistic, however, in theory, totally possible. But it could have all these fines on it from EPA, from the county. It wasn't kept up 10 years ago. And once those fines start getting rolling, then the problem becomes is that, you know, those fines in my county, they follow the property, not the owner. And so if you buy a piece of property that, you know, $12,000 has been levied against it from the county, then you're responsible. And those are usually $10, $15, $20. I've seen them as much as $100 a day running. So you figure that, you know, every month that's $3,000 going. All right, the meter's ticking, folks. What normally happens under frequent situation is that when you get to property, you can get all of the things rectified and then call for an inspection, and then the meter stops. And so, like, if you own the house for 14 days, you can go to the special magistrate, plead your case, and normally what they will do is they will stop it, and you'll be responsible for the $1,400, not the thousands in arrears, okay? But it's not guaranteed that's going to happen. So then the situation becomes you're taking a risk. House right now, but it's in really bad shape. The guy owes over 10 grand on it. He's going to end up losing it more than likely. I offered him 5,000. I'll take everything on. And he was like, no, it's worth 30. And I was like, okay, you know, have a good day. It's not worth 30. And what will end up happening is that guy's going to end up losing the house. And more than likely, what I suspect will occur is some in there squat and smoke cigarettes or something and end up burning the house down. And so now he's going to be left with a vacant lot that has more in fines than what the lot is worth. It's just the way that it goes. So then it becomes a situation where, you know, this guy could have made some money, walked away with some, and this is a phenomenon that occurs all the time. And I don't know why, but people just get it in their mind that, you know, they're entitled to this amount of money. What they won't do is be honest. Look, I've made a bad decision. Like, this guy bought the house. He lived here in Pensacola. Then he moves away. And, you know, now he's in a situation where he can't do anything. And, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, anybody that tells you about real estate out of town and everything like that, I don't recommend that for your first. Not unless you're getting into a great network. You've got a team as far as people, managers, all that kind of stuff. Most people don't. You should know what it's like to run your hands-on for at least a year. So then you know what to look for with a good property manager. But this is Sunday. This is Sunday morning, okay? I was headed to church. Forgot some stuff. Now I got to go to the warehouse, get it, take it back to the roofing crew. I don't know if we're going to make it to church on time or not. So, you know, every time somebody sees me with crab legs or doing something fun, they're always like, oh, it must be nice. Well, guess what? I'm doing everything that you won't do. I'm working weekends, nights, holidays. This is where you make your money, folks. The whole system is rigged for you to make it and just get by on 40 hours a week. You want more out of life? Then you're going to have to work more than other people do. Oh, lost all y'all, or most of y'all. This by far is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen a house built where they frame the walls like that. But then it looks like they skinned it with plywood, which gives it extra rigidity. Our panel's gonna mount right there. That's it. I mean, it's just crazy. It'll be beautiful when we're done. That is for sure. I don't ever suggest doing this with flip-flops. Problem is, you start going around and step on a nail or something, and then you got bad time. Been one of these weekends where, for lack of better words, I just did not get any time to myself to be able to do what I want. And it took me a long time to figure out exactly what would transpire. And basically it got to what I came up with is being out of control. In the sense that when you have all these different things that are demanding of your attention and commitments that you got to fulfill, like seeing the guys on the roof and got to bring them materials and everything, then what you get to do or what you want to do is limited. And so then you're in a situation where you have to make this happen and you have to do this, and whatever you want to do gets put off. And I can just say, screw it. and then pay more money for them to come back later and put the ridge vent on that I just brought them, or that vent for the bathroom. But it just doesn't make financial sense. It's like, bite the bullet, go ahead and do it. There's a long-term plan. July next year, all these properties that I got that are sitting, these projects and everything, they're going to be done. All we're going to be doing is just fixing leaky sinks and, having everything stable and doing some paint every now and then. And that's going to be it. I'm going to be done with it. And Robert Tools working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Nah. Ain't going to be happening. Robert traveling, that's happening. Robert sleeping in, that's happening. Robert going to the gym, that's happening. Robert enjoying good meals, that's happening. Robert having massages, that's happening. Massages more than one in 1 week, that's happening. So, the end is near. And I do see the end result. I see the goal. It's very doable. As long as we don't have any huge hiccups having to do with our country, the economy, then we'll be doing okay.